Hi. Once you get into your Apex class by logging in, you'll have My Dashboard, and you'll probably have one or two classes here. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you actually get into a class. So I'm going to choose this one, and you just click on the class, and then yours will load like this. It will look a little different because everybody has a different class they're taking. This just gives you a general idea of what the different parts of it are that you have access to. And sometimes it takes a little while. So here I've gotten in, and you can see that with this class there are 6 units, and it looks like here's a spot to start, or you could start here, or you could click here. Any place will work. Once you get here, you can see that you're into the Unit 1, and it wants you to look at the overview first. This is like the teacher starting the unit with a little bit of information to get you going. And as you can see, this is just a short little page to kind of let you know what this unit is going to be about. But there are a couple things I'll introduce to you here. So if you want to hear this played for you, you can click here for audio support, and it's a more human voice. If you want to try out both ways, the text to speech up here also works the same way. It reads the text to you. If you happen to have more than one language that you like to read in, you can choose your other language to use to translate the page as well. And that should work on most pages. If you see this symbol, that'll be translate for you, and this symbol or this symbol will read the text. So those are some things to know as you're going through the class. And I'm going to continue down here once I've finished that page. Now you can see I've got another overview, but this time it's my lesson overview. So if I click here to start, this lesson overview is like the teacher telling you what the objectives of today's lesson are going to be. So you'll read through there. And another nice feature on this lesson overview page sometimes are the key terms. And if you click up here, it's like the teacher giving you the vocabulary right at the beginning of the class. Sorry this is taking so long to load. But you can see then it lists the vocabulary. And usually I tell people don't worry about writing them all down, but if it's a word that you're not familiar with, that's a good time to take a look at it and maybe write it down in your notes. What's reflective listening? And here again, reminder that you can listen to it read to you, and there would be your definition that you could write down. Close that, and I close that again, and I'm back here. I have read the page, and so then I can continue here, or I can always go back here also. It gets me back to this page. Some of these have discussion areas, and some of that is you read it and then you type down your notes that you share with the teacher. I'm going to skip right to the study section because that's mostly what you will have. And this one shows me that I'm going to read 13 pages to learn this information. Right here, the first thing I see and like to click on is the study guide. And it's like the teacher saying, here's a page of notes that you can fill in as you go, as you read, to figure out what they're hoping you will get out of the page. In a separate video, I'll show you how to turn this into a Kami document so you can take notes on it. If you have access to a printer and you like to do that, the print button is right here. And then you just work through the print steps. So I'll close that again, either here or here. And as you can see, I have 13 pages to go. On this first page, there's a little activity. Do you stick to the goals you set for yourself? Sure. And I submit. And then it gives you a little information about other people's answers. And you just keep going through the pages, and anytime you see one of these blue words, again, it will give you a definition right there. So another nice thing to write down in your notes sometimes if it's a word that you're not familiar with. Okay, and I don't see anything else there that I want to point out. Sometimes there are games. So if my type of goal is mental, what would be an example of that? Maybe I want to become fluent in Spanish. So I would connect those two. With this cursor on, it doesn't want to do that, but you can see that you are connecting them. All right, and then I'm going to keep working through all 13 pages. Once I get to the end of the 13th page, it will ask me did I complete my study guide and did I check my answers? Okay. And so you could check again here to see if what you had were correct answers. And then it asks me if I am ready to move on. I tell it yes. And then very often you'll have a quiz right after a study section. But in this case, you have two study sections and then you get to your quiz. The study section will be fairly similar setup. So I'm going to skip right over to the quiz and start. And with this quiz, they basically ask me, are you ready? And if I've reviewed, then it's time to start. And I can click start. And it opens up the multiple choice quiz. It tells you that there are going to be 10 questions. And you're going to select your answer and submit. And to pass each of those quizzes, you're shooting for 7 out of 10 or a 70%. So if you have 20 questions, and then you're going to get 14 or more right. As you move through, you can see that the next one will be lesson 1.2, and then you'll do lesson 1.2, and it looks like you'll have study, 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 and then a quiz. And sometimes there are some writing assignments. So when you get in here, this writing assignment, you can read through here first, and then the actual assignment shows up under the bullseye. Not all of these will be on your list of things to complete, but if it does show up, then you'll complete that to get the points. And again, you will probably want to turn this into a document that you can write on, either by printing it and then sharing it with your teacher that way, or by turning it into a Kami document and sharing it that way. Once you've completed that, you close it, and you'd be ready for the next thing again. And anytime you see something like this, it's probably good to check out. Sometimes they include some videos. This one says it's a textbook excerpt, a little bit of a textbook for you to read. And it's always a good idea just to look around the page for things like that. I'm going to see, it looks like there are 5 lessons. And if you're curious about the class as a whole, you can come up here to your hamburger menu, and you can see that Unit 1 has 4 main sections, and then the 5th one will be your test that you take, your unit test. And if you look at that again, you're going to have 5 units to complete, and the 6th unit, if it's called a wrap-up, is probably going to be a final test. If you ever need some extra information, the home page brings you back to this page, and this little briefcase is one spot where you can go to if you want, again, to see the whole class kind of listed out in outline form. Or the key terms would show you all of the definitions for the class rather than just the lesson or the unit, but the whole class would be there. So that's a pretty basic overview of the things that are available to you in Apex.